I'm 32 years old and I don't have any friends. And well, obviously that's an exaggeration. I do have a few friends, if I'm totally honest, but I don't really have friends that I would see face to face. And throughout my life, it's really been that way. I'm not really looking for sympathy because I'm these days mostly okay with it. Sometimes there are days that it does bug me, but it mostly actually bugs me more to be around people than to be alone. So for the most part, I don't really feel lonely. That's a different thing. And some people think that I'm antisocial because I'm an extreme introvert. But it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. The reason that I'm doing this video is that maybe there are other people who feel similarly, have a similar life experience, and can relate and maybe find some comfort in hearing someone else feeling the same way. When it came to the early 2000s, when I was 7-8 years old, I got into Japanese manga. That stuff wasn't in my country really like hip, you know, the way it then became a few years later. And that's important because it did affect the situation, because when I got into it, nobody else was reading manga stuff and some other comic stuff too. And I was watching like not adult movies, like adult movies, but just like real movies, you know, made for grown-ups. And while other people, other kids, you know, were watching these children's shows. So I was always sort of just a little bit different, I guess. And that's not to say that I felt that I was like somehow better than the others or anything like that. No, but it's just when you are a kid, your circle is very small. You are just around the other kids that are on your class and maybe in the neighborhood, some relatives, but that's it. And if there are no kids that like the same things that you do, you are alone. You are just left alone. I remember the teachers were like, oh, there's something wrong with you because you don't have enough of friends and stuff like that. But the thing is, I never really felt lonely. It was just confusing why it seemed that all the other people around me felt that was a problem. I enjoyed drawing. I drew comics and wrote stuff, and just enjoed being in the nature and alone, going fishing and stuff like that. And there just was no really, well, I did have a few friends, like one or two really, but they enjoyed some of the same things that I did, and then we went fishing together and stuff like that. But with all the grown-ups, you know, teachers and so on, they felt that was like a problem, that I should have more friends and there's something wrong with me and stuff like that. But even though I didn't feel that way. But anyway, then I grew up, and kids, you know, on your class, when you go to like early teens and stuff like that, you hit puberty, and most of the kids around you, that was never really a big thing for me. Puberty didn't really change me. I already liked the things that I still like prior to puberty, and I didn't have any big sort of flashy outbursts or anything like that, you know. So all the other, even like some of the kids that used to be my friends, they just changed totally, and they started to do things that I wasn't interested at all. You know, going to the mall and just causing havoc and stuff like that, and I just wasn't into it. So my friends just got few and few, like they just sort of disappeared. And it started this time in my life that it was just very hard to really befriend anybody. It was just so hard. When I got to see sort of like the Finnish high school, it was a huge school. It was almost 1,000 students in it, and I didn't have any friends there. But anyway, after that, I got into, well, I was in the Finnish Defense Forces. That's another story. Over there, it's a little bit different because you're forced to be 24 hours in a week, week after week after week with the same people, and even though you don't know them at all, and you don't really even like talk about your private life there, you sort of do bond with them, but it's an artificial bond. It's not real, and those people, they don't become your friends, even though it feels like it. You do feel this bond during that time, but when that time ends, these people disappear from your life. And that sort of started this part of my life, when after that then I started to actually went to study theater and poetry and creative writing, drama, stuff like that. All your Shakespeare, all that sort of cliche stuff. And it was a really sort of beautiful time in my life. For once, I was actually around people that enjoyed the same things that I do. And I found a lot of comfort from that. And I got a lot of friends, actually. And I was very social. It was sort of so overwhelming. And I thought that these people would remain in my life throughout my rest of my life. I really tried my best to be good to them. I baked even like some goods and brought them into the classes, and I was like so nice and social. And it wasn't a bluff. I really felt that I was so sort of, how do you say it? It was just so nice to have all these people in my life, and I was thankful of it. Eventually that school was done. These people disappeared from my life. Day one. It was just so shocking to me, because I thought that these were my real friends, but they just disappeared. I tried to keep contact, but eventually it really turned into this sort of monologue. You probably know what I'm talking about. That you are the only one just asking how they're doing and stuff like that, and you're okay, like I get it, I get what you're saying, like you don't want to have any contact. All right, so they disappeared, and that then has been really happening with me since that. Like since then, going to, there's a really sort of weird bridge over here. I want to cross it, but in some ways I don't. So I guess I have my Wellingtons on, so maybe I'll just go like this. Okay. So, you go to workplaces, and there's the community there, and everybody pretends to be so social, and you're like, let's be friends, and everything is just fun and games, it's just like, yeah. And you play these games, it's sort of like a theater, really. All the small talk, and how you're doing, oh, you did like this and that, and so on, that game, and but you change workplaces. I've been in probably 24 different work environments at this point already in my life, and guess how many friends remains from all these ventures? 0, pretty much nil. I've already come to the conclusion that when I arrive into a new workplace, obviously all the people there, they play the game. I don't have energy to do that. I don't really play that game. Because of that, people look at me kind of strangely. The stock is sadly falling apart. You probably heard it crumble. Actually, once went to swim over here, but it seems that this stock is kind of seeing its last moments as of now. That makes me actually very sad, because it's a very lovely place, as you can see. It's just so calm and peaceful over here in the nature. Anyway, let's actually head back, I guess. So yeah, they think that I'm antisocial, I'm not a team player or whatever, And it's silly, because I'm just being honest, and it's not that I don't want to be friends with these people. Of course I do. If there's nice people there, of course I do want to, but I'm just tired of playing that game because I know that all these people, even the people that I like, they will disappear from my life the day I switch the workplace. It's just so silly. They think they're so freaking busy with their smartphones, their TikTok accounts, and they don't have time to even write to you. It's just so sad, this situation where we've come to, because we used to have communities. I remember when I was a kid and seeing how my parents would go about their life, there was pretty much constantly people coming to see us, see them, and they were constantly seeing their friends, and they're not doing that anymore. So, the culture has changed. Truly, it's like people think they're so busy that they don't even have time for their friends. And it's really sad. But anyway, like I said, I'm an introvert and I'm not into these sort of false friendhood, whatever, games these days anymore. So, and I'm a very good person to spot and sort of scan another person. So I really sense their energy and their personality type and so on, So when I meet a new person, I know quite fast if we would make good friends or not. I do get along with all people, but there's a difference there. And I very rarely meet these kind of people anymore. I find it very hard to discuss about anything with people because most people are not interested in those things that I'm interested in talking about or the things that I'm thinking. I feel that they are maybe a little bit too afraid to even think these things, which I am thinking a lot of times. And it's not that I'm thinking dark things, no, but just they enjoy being in that safe environment, that status quo. They want to keep that. They don't want to question it. They don't want to think about any other ways of living. They just want to go to work from 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, go about their days and sort of watch TV for the evenings and nights, and that's it. They don't want to do anything else. Everything else is something that they feel is exhausting to them. And, maybe go to a bar or whatever, drink some alcohol. But I don't do those things. I don't watch reality TV. I don't know how to discuss about those things. And I never wanted to work a 9-to-5 job. It's just a necessity that I have to do. But most people seem to be happy with that situation. I feel that's a hoax, and I want to get out of it. I always did. I'm 32 by now. I've sort of just learned to accept it. The fact that most likely I'm going to be more or less alone for the rest of my life. I hope that I do find new friends, and I do hope that I can hold on to those that I still have. And I wish that I could have more friends, but it's not something that I'm actively sort of pursuing or worrying about that thing. I've learned to be quite comfortable with my own company. If I want to do something, I've known so many people who want to travel, for example, but they always say, oh, I can't do it alone. I'm too scared to go alone abroad. And I already, years ago, a decade ago, I was like, heck, nobody wants to go to London with me or New York. Well, whatever, I'll go alone then. And I had a blast. And still, I'm the same way. If I want to do something, I'll do it. Alone or with friends. It doesn't really matter. I'm not one of those people that are just going to sit around and be sad about their situation. And we all probably know these people. They just sit around and they cry about their life and how it sucks and they don't do anything about it. So it's like, hey, it might be that you are just a problem and not other people and other, stuff like your work or whatever, just maybe you should just do something about it. I'm not one of those people. I'm relatively happy the way my life is right now, even though it's not perfect. It's quite far from perfect, but we work with what we have, and we should try to enjoy our lives no matter what the exact situation is, because it's never perfect. But you just have to find the enjoyment from, you know, where you are right now, and think about the journey, think about the stuff that you've learned throughout that journey, and think about your goal. You know, maybe there's something still that you do want to accomplish. Go towards that and work that thing. You know, don't just sit around and dream about it. Actually try and start to do things to actually make it happen. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. I think I'll go back to the shore and actually take a few photographs because it's so lovely with this snowfall. So hey, see you soon, hopefully on the next video. Stick around, take care, bye bye.